Good morning. And this morning, we're going to be talking about how to communicate with people at a really high level. And additionally, I'm going to be talking about booze and drinking some beers with some friends last night at a comedy show. And how does that affect my workflow today? Enjoy the show, everyone.
Financially free and enjoy more of what the world has to offer. This action one, because this is where most human beings screw the pooch.
So a little one-person trampoline. Very,
I screen shared it. Like, there's no excuse. Like, phone numbers are just out there. You just got to pick up the phone, smile, and dial.
Good morning, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk Tanner Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercises to help make you the absolute best entrepreneur you can be, not only for yourself, but for the people you love and care about most. Episode 200. Oh my gosh, we're way past the 200s. Episode 348 this morning, gaining some respect, talking to people. And this one's going to be a fun one because we're just going to go over something that I've gone over like hundreds of episodes ago. And it's cool to see how it's evolved and to see that this stuff really does work. And that's one of the big reasons of why I'm a big proponent of anyone who wants to blow up a company, anyone who wants to create a personal brand, to create a long stretch like this waterfall piece of content over years, because you can use old pieces of content and see how they evolve and if they work or if they don't work. And this one works really, really well. So let me go ahead and create this banner. So there's this idea on 3 levels of listening that I wanted to talk about, because if you're going to communicate, if you're going to gain respect from people, it's going to inquire us to listen to other folks. So let's go ahead as we get on the board. Good morning this morning. Happy Friday. Thanks for tuning into the show this morning. So let's get to our pieces. So we're talking about the 3 levels of listening first and foremost. And then we'll get into talking about alcohol and booze. So first we have 3 levels of listening. Okay, level number 1. You are within your own thoughts. This is thinking, primarily listening to yourself. So, my thoughts, me. Have you ever been listening to someone and you're just kind of thinking, how should I respond? What should I say? So a lot of the times when we're listening to people, it can be in the tension of to just respond. So really highlight that word respond. This is a danger, and this is what we want to work on, because in level 1, we're not actually listening. And if we want to be more interesting, if we want to be liked, if we want to gain respect, if we want to be able to communicate with people at a very high level, I believe that listening is probably the biggest piece for this. And in level 1, we're trapped a little bit, and everyone's just trying to sound smart. I got to be the smart guy. We see this all the time in politics. People believe that if I just yell real loud, if I just scream and wave my arms around, if I get super emotional and offended, I will be right, damn it. I will be right. Louder, smarter. And it's like, that is quite the opposite. It doesn't prove, and it's actually, I'm optimistic because I think a lot more of us are really realizing how dumb that is, and it's just giving more people. So politics is just an easy example. It's just allowed for me this morning. So, for example, I like learning on both parties, but particularly with the the Trump administration. They're trying to slam him and do all these indictments. And then people are like, his points are going up. It's this opposite effect. If you really don't want him to win, it's kind of, I don't know. It's like you're just like getting more attention, and whether the attention is toxic or not, I don't know if that matters anymore in politics. It's all a bunch of garbage, and that's why I don't really pay attention to it. But you can see with the effect, it's not when people are debating and stuff anymore. They're just name calling and yelling. There's no statesmanship, and no one's like elaborating, and it's too bad because I love history, and a lot of how it used to be conducted, it was a lot better. And there was a little bit of listening, and now it's just, you get what I'm saying. It's just responding. So how does this relate to us outside of the bullshit world of politics? When you're just communicating, say this Labor Day weekend, you're working with your friends, maybe we try to get to the second level of listening. And I like to put down for this one, for level 2, is state the facts. You know what someone's talking about, so you can state the facts. So in level 2 listening, you can repeat back to me. So if I'm talking about the 3 levels of listening and I list them out and I share them with you, you could, at level 2 listening, you could just repeat them back to me. Do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? Are you able to just process and then give it back to them? So in level 2, and this is definitely a step up from level 1, because you're not thinking so much of what to just say next to try and sound smart and to one up people, because nobody likes that. Don't do that. No one wants unsolicited advice. So no need to respond, versus we're giving people the space and the opportunity to speak, and they'll probably like us a whole lot more and probably come to us a lot more often. And then we state the facts of what they are saying. So this is something, it's called mirroring in communication. It's a really powerful tool. So chatting with someone, I'm listening to them, and then just be honest with yourself. So they say something that you like. Take the core of that sentence and repeat it back to them. They say something that you like. They say some type of influential point. They're like, yeah, politics. They're not even trying to understand each other anymore. Boom, done. Open mic to you. People love that. You're reaffirming that what they're saying is valuable. And when people feel valued and understood, cha-ching, this is when we can really get to a higher level of connection, relationship, love, support, ideas, and all this. Because you don't need to learn that much more from yourself, where the real opportunities for learning is from learning from other people, I think. So if we can really listen at a high level, I think it can give us a lot more bang for our buck, not only for them, because people like it and they love to be supported in this way, but also for our learning as well. So that's state number 2. That's listening level number 2, is just being able to repeat back what it is that they're saying. And at level number 3, so we're on level number 3 for this sucker. I need another piece of chalk. Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing this morning? So level 3 is listening is also completely directed towards the other person, but it has a wider focus. So a wider focus. So think of your ability to, you're listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth, but you also have a wider focus. So how is the inflection in my voice? One of the things in communication, something that I really like, is when you bring the tone down at the end of your sentence versus when you bring it up. I think it's a lot of, you can hear what's easier to understand. So when you're talking to somebody, maybe you try that and you're trying to lay out, these are the three levels of listening, if I could talk this morning. And the first one, you're just you're just trying to respond. You're just trying to sound smart and say this. Level 2, you're just regurgitating. Say if you're in a classroom and you're just repeating back for a test. Level 2, you're just stating the facts. And then level 3 is where you just have a wider focus and you can understand like things like body language. You can understand things like tone. So in communication, kind of see how at the end of my point and the end of my conversation, I'm like dropping the tone, I'm dropping the volume a little bit. And it almost gets people like lean in, and it's a great way to communicate. So that's just a little pro bono from something I learned in a speech class I was taking, but either way. So the level 3 of listening for the last one for this is this wider focus. Not only can you hear the word, you know the words that are coming out of my mouth, but you're hearing the inflection, you're hearing the emotion, you're seeing the body language. How am I moving? What am I emphasizing on? What am I really talking about? Do you hear the thud on the wall? Do you hear it's pretty wild, the human experience, when you just widen your scope, how locked into the present moment you are. We talked about that the other day, about being in the present moment, but it's a great life hack. So when you're looking at somebody, don't try and make yourself cross-eyed doing this, but just try and widen your focus. Take more in of what is here right now. And tell me if you're more locked into the present moment. I bet you will be. And so you're listening to somebody and you're taking in their body language, their body movement, how they're speaking, the tone of their voice. And you're like taking in more of the vision of the room. And it's a lot easier to stay in the present moment. Weird life hack, works like a charm, but that's level 3. And this is where we want to be. If we can be in level 3 listening, this is how we're going to gain respect. And this is kind of the point I was trying to make this morning. I want us to, as communicators, as people, as individuals, I want us to be able to gain respect, to gain other people's trust, not only to blow up our businesses, not only to support them in their own endeavors, but to just be better, happier, fulfilling human beings. I promise you will feel better about supporting someone and learning about what they have going on and being there and being the anchor for it than you would if you're just blabbering around and gossiping about some bullshit that you deep down don't care about. So there's nothing wrong with talking and talking back and forth in the conversation, right? But I think there's just a few small changes, and it's never going to be perfect, right? Perfect is not a reality, just a concept. And we're able to just improve these skills. So this weekend, and when you see some friends, maybe you see some family, maybe you interact with some here, maybe you still have some work to do and you're meeting some people for potential work, or you're doing some traveling or whatever. Try to incorporate these levels, the 3 levels of listening, and ask yourself, what level am I at? Am I at the shallow level? Am I cutting people off? Am I talking over them? Am I just talking to respond in that crappy level 1? Or am I willing to go a little bit deeper? Am I willing to really try to understand someone and try to like really listen? And it's such a privilege, because it's happiness is when you're in the present moment. And if we can communicate with people in level 3 more often, I think we'll just be happy more often. And happiness, like anything else, it takes practice. And the more that we can be in that state, the more naturally we're going to be pulled into that state. So it's what could be another comparison to happiness. So maybe you could think of posture. So when you develop and strengthen the muscles to have good posture, you will have good posture more often. Does that make sense? Like the muscles in your back, the muscles in your shoulder, the muscles in your neck, we can visualize how those could strengthen and support us and help us have better posture more often. Are we still going to slouch every now and again into this C-shaped human? Probably, with how chairs are made, with computer screens, with driving in cars all the time, with just social norms, and just everyone else's body position is total trash. Like, yeah, it's going to be natural. It's going to happen. It's not going to be perfect. But with intention and with focus, we can improve our posture. And then as we strengthen our bodies, it'll have better posture over the long haul. So could we say that happiness is the same? Or this is how it clicks in my brain. We're talking about a little bit about happiness right now and how to gain respect and talk to people. Let's say if you have good posture and you relate that to happiness, happiness is something that we work on. We're not going to have it all the time, but we have the ability to give focus and attention to it and try and improve it as much as we can. And the stronger, the more we do it, the stronger it will get and the easier it will be to be happy more often. It takes practice. That's a philosophy that I believe in, and hopefully it's helpful to you. The last thing on here I wanted to talk about today after 3 levels of listening was alcohol, a little bit about alcohol. So last night, one of my good buddies, he went to, it was really impressive. So he lost in this fantasy football thing, and then he had to do an open mic night for a comedy show. Hilarious, by the way. Really, really great. Not just him, but just the idea of making somebody do that. And we went up there. He went up there. Clearly the dude prepared, and he did absolutely great. So shout out to him. He did really fun. He had me laughing. I was cackling on my ugly laugh when I'm recording the video. There's a few parts where he just had some really funny jokes, and I was laughing really hard. But those special occasions, I don't mind having a few beers and drinking alcohol. And I'm really happy with where my relationship is with alcohol. I think when we demonize anything too much, it can actually form a bad relationship with it. And it can almost like create this bad energy. Or I'm trying to still continue to think of words on how to explain this, but it almost makes me feel like resentful. Or then if I ever do it for any excuse ever at all, it's like this bad thing. And so I'm really happy with where my relationship is growing with it. And I have it every now and again. And I'm probably I got a few more friends that are in town again tonight. So I probably will even have a few more tonight. But the reality of the effects is so very true. I did not want to get up this morning and do this show. Blatantly honest. And that's a big reason why I did an idea, something that I've worked on in the past. Do I think listening is absolutely crucial and important? Yes. And I think it's good timing because we're going into a long weekend. And you're going to be seeing friends and family, and it's your superpower to listen, and people will respect you more than you'll ever in your life. It's on point. But I am kind of tired, and I don't feel amazing. Do I feel hungover? No, not really. I had 2 really strong beers, like 2 of these like hazy IPA things that I thought tasted delicious, but I don't feel super energized. I don't feel super well rested. And that's just the reality of alcohol. So when I do it, I acknowledge the fact that I'm not going to feel as sharp. And it makes me really excited because now I have control over this relationship, and I pick and choose. Tomorrow morning, I don't have to get up super early. I don't have to do a morning show. I don't have to write a blog. I don't have to do some tutorial stuff. There's a lot of things I just don't have. I'm not planning on doing for work. So I'm probably going to meet up, go out to dinner with these people, and have a few drinks, play some board games, have a good time, yada, yada, yada. And that's okay. But on like a weekday, on a Thursday, if it wasn't a special event, I probably wouldn't do it. I just wanted to come up here and just talk about alcohol a little bit because I think people get surprised, or they're like, I just don't get why I don't take action on my goals. It's like, dude, you're exhausted. You can't properly sleep at a deep level and rest with good quality and have the energy and motivation to do great things if you're not well rested. It's just how that works. If I would, there's no way in hell if I drank all the time, I would be able to shoot, what episode is this? 348. 348 mornings in a row on these like morning show topics, going live, doing this, talking about different person. Like, it's just, if you want maximum energy and you want maximum focus and productivity, I would highly recommend really analyzing your relationship with alcohol and really cutting it back. But there are special occasions and special times where I have no problem with it. And so that's how it works for me. How it affects everyone else, I'm sure, is different. For me, it makes me not very motivated. That's just how it is. I've looked back, I've played trial and error a lot with it. And when I do not drink, I feel way more energy. When I do drink, I feel way less energy. Factual. And I think I can continue to tailor my life and understand this relationship. And I hope this personal example helps you to investigate what works for you, what doesn't. Even smoking pot. If I smoke too much pot, then yeah, I just don't feel super focused and I don't feel super charged in the mornings. And that's particularly in the mornings. And that's when I do a lot of my work, is in the mornings. So that's what works and doesn't work for me. So, but am I going to smoke some pot later today? Totally. It's going to be a great time. I'm meeting up with my friends, probably go to one of the parks, walk around, maybe smoke a joint or something. It's going to be great. But that's something I don't indulge in very often. And that's just because my work in my career is such a high priority for me right now. And I am so in love with having 100% energy that's like this. It just takes the back seat. It's just not what I want or need right now. It doesn't match public speaking, intense writing, creating projects, just working on projects that take a lot of my mental effort and thought. Some of the books that I'm reading right now, I'm trying to really push the pace on my vocabulary and literacy and just the depth of my reading skills. And I can't do that when I smoke pot or drink alcohol. So it's like, what am I really trying to do here? So that was a rant on me. So I appreciate you guys being at level 3 listening for me on that. But that's my relationship with alcohol and some of the effects and how I'm trying to figure it out, how I'm dabbling with things. And I think moderation is really key, and balance is good for everything. I don't think it's good to demonize anything too hard, because it's probably just something else that's going on with us. But to each their own, to form their own relationship. So appreciate you all sticking around this morning. And in case you needed to hear it, you're a badass. I love you. You got this. Let's go out and listen. 2 ears, 1 mouth, right? 2 ears, 1 mouth. And let's go out and listen to some folks this weekend, get into that level 3 listening, and have a really good Labor Day weekend. But I'll still be live on Monday morning. Don't you sweat it. I'll be back here with episode 349, bright and early, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time on Labor Day Monday. And I'll see you guys around. But I'm off for the weekend. Happy Friday to y'all. Catch you around. Peace.